Hello and welcome to this week's edition of The Cheese and the Alien Show. I'd like to start off with congratulations to some of last week's winner, Timothy Peters, on his win at Iowa. It was a great race overall to watch. Some minor wrecks here and there, and I know some trucks were pretty beat up, but it was a good race to watch for the fans. And Casey Kane for his win in the Cup Series. We won't talk about the Nationwide Series, as the few of you who might watch this know why. But anyways, congratulations to Casey Kane for his win out in New Hampshire. The big story over the weekend was in the Nationwide race, though. We all thought Kevin Harvick had it locked up. Definitely at least one of the fastest cars. Had a couple second lead, looking pretty good until some lap traffic from some inexperienced drivers decided to get in the way. I understand if you're only a couple of laps down, but when you're 30-some laps down, and believe me, I love to cheer for the girls, no matter who it is, you get out of the way. You don't swerve all over the track and block the leaders, especially when I'm hoping your spotter tells you that the leaders are coming. And then, to make matters worse, you get on Twitter afterwards. And honestly, if you've ever watched a post-race interview with Kevin Harvick, it's a pretty decent interview that he gave, as I would have expected a lot more out of him, but he still kept his composure. But then, you get on Twitter and the girls start making comments, or I should say the Coke girls, not all the girls. Not very professional. Doesn't show that you belong in this sport. So I definitely have to side with Kevin Harvick on this one, along with many others. The big story in the Cup race was Denny Hamlin's dominant car. Once again, at a track that's hard to pass, he didn't have lap traffic in his way. He just had issues talking to his crew chief on the radio. If you listen to the whole conversation, it was so vague from both sides. I'm amazed he got any tires on that car in the first place. Come on, Denny and Darian, you guys have been working together for how many months now? It's mid-July, we're in the middle of the season. I think we should be able to communicate a little bit better, hoping things get better. Alien was kind of glad she missed the end of the race for that reason. This week, then, has turned into a giant silly season for crew chiefs. And I didn't even realize one until I was doing my research for the show earlier today. We all knew the big announcement on Tuesday is that Bob Osborne is out as crew chief on the 99 Carl Edwards car. The Alien and I were just talking about this during the Cup race, that, I was starting to think maybe they might consider something, a little bit of a shake-up at Roush Fenway. It's kind of wondering what was going to happen, but neither of us really thought that he was ever going to leave the team. We say, get well soon, Bob. Hope you can make it back to the track in the future. But we're excited to see Chad Norris, who was Ricky Stenhouse's crew chief in the Daytona 500, and got Trevor Bayne to that win at Texas in the Nationwide Series last fall. So definitely someone that we're happy to see on that 99 car. At the same time, the 78 car of Regan Smith apparently will have a new crew chief come Indy. Loudon was the last race for their current crew chief, and sounds like Furniture Row isn't too happy with how that car's been doing, and I gotta admit, kind of had to dump Regan from some of my fantasy teams. He used to be a good cheap pick that would always have a respectable finish for you, but he's just been struggling this year. They're not wrecking a lot of equipment, it's just that speed is not there. Some other silly season news that's happening for this season. J.J. Yaley announced that he will be moving to Tommy Baldwin Racing, effective immediately for the rest of the year. Glad to see that he'll be in a slightly better car for the rest of the year, because he's definitely a driver that deserves it. And then Ryan Blaney will be replacing Parker Kligerman in a few of the Nationwide races in the 22 car, which I don't blame Parker. He's doing well in the Truck Series, and he wants to be able to focus on that championship run. And at the same time, we're also glad to see Ryan Blaney getting some more seat time in the Nationwide Series at such a young age. But his talent's definitely worth it. The big news from last weekend with AJ Allmendinger's suspension, we found out that his B sample will be tested on Tuesday the 24th, it looks like. So this coming Tuesday after our Cup off weekend. Hoping there's some good news there for AJ. None of us really want to see him leave the sport. He's a good guy, good driver. So we're hoping for the best for him next week. The other big news was the military sponsorship. The bill was going through Congress this week, yesterday, as a matter of fact. And we knew the Army had already announced that they were leaving NASCAR, but some of the other ones, the Air Force, there's a few races on Eric Almirola's car, and National Guard, such a big part of Junior's 88 team. A lot of that sponsorship was in jeopardy, but it looks like our bill didn't pass. It was a narrow margin, but for now at least, we will still maintain those military sponsorships that play such a big part in our sport. We have some congratulations to send out to the Newman family on the birth of Ashlyn Olivia earlier this week. And I know it's drag racing, NHRA, but not NASCAR. Still, I'd like to congratulate Brandon Bernstein and his wife on the birth of their son, Landon Russell, early yesterday morning. So many babies running around these garages and pit areas. Definitely nice to see the future of our sport standing there, even if they'll be around in about 20 years. Good to know we're continuing on the tradition. The Alien won a very high-scoring fantasy game between the two of us. Our scores have been better than we've seen them in quite a long time, but she won by another narrow margin of 20, 30 points, something around there. And now we know there's no Cup race this weekend, but we still have some great action coming from Chicago, one of my favorite tracks, maybe because I've seen a truck race and a nationwide race there, along with a couple of Indy races too. Wishing I could go this weekend, but kind of glad that I won't be there in the upper 90s for temperatures, especially with the nationwide race. Now we put in the middle of the afternoon. The night race last year was much better, if you ask me. Trucks are on Saturday night, nationwide race Sunday afternoon. Hope you can all stay cool or join them out at the track, and we'll see you next week.